Hello, beautiful people of the internets. Welcome back to the Dudepool Gamescast. I'm the host, as always, the Dude250, hanging out with my main man, Taylor Sager. Aliens exist. Also, coming with us today, again, as always, he's back from the grave. It's Danny Peel, ladies and gentlemen, the golden god himself, Brutal Nature.
I told you I'd be back. You devils.
He has
You did.
risen again.
Yep, the second coming has arrived.
I always come
Came
twice.
twice.
Ooh.
Always.
That's why he wasn't here last week. He needed to rehydrate. We got a pretty fun show for you today. It's currently E3, so we want to get back to watching some of those pretty juicy conferences, but we saw one last night, and I'm going to let Danny-O take it away with today's topic.
All right, so the topic is, straight out of the gate, Dishonored 2.
Boom.
Okay,
Dishonored
so,
again.
I mean,
How
Dishonored,
can you be dishonored twice?
you can be dishonorable a few times.
yeah.
I have
Before
been.
being beheaded. It's like a 3 times you're out type of deal, like baseball rules.
Sure.
Well, no, because Corvo can blink, so
That's
he can
right.
just blink
Oh.
away from the...
I mean, everyone can blink.
Had his head cut off.
That's cheating.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
But,
Solid, Danny. Anyway.
Dishonored 2 looks
I
pretty
mean,
nifty.
yeah, I read, what kind of made me want to talk about this is, I read a quote. I forget where it was from. It might have been like Game Rant or something it was something on Facebook somewhere. And this guy in his article said that Dishonored, the original, was like one of the best games of the last 10 or 15 years. And that kind of made me think a little bit. It didn't make me
Is that
think
like-
anything specific. What's that?
Is that like original IPs or games? Did you say games or original new
I guess it
IPs?
might have been some kind of original thing, but I think it was just straight games he was talking about, and which it kind of hit me because I remember that game coming out and it getting kind of good reviews, nothing special. I mean, some people seem to love it, some people seem to like it, few people seem
Yeah,
to
there's always
hate
been
it,
a pretty vocal group of people that absolutely love it.
and I
Yeah.
mean,
It's certainly something different.
it is. I think in that genre, that sort of subgenre of sort of that type of shooter game, of first-person game rather, I think BioShock is the one that stands head and shoulders above everything else.
Right.
As far as like an absolute classic that's come out in the last sort of 10 or 15 years, but
Yep, good call.
Yeah, but this guy was probably saying it's probably like his one before Dishonored. The big game was probably BioShock because
BioShock
that's
1,
the game that Dishonored gets so much
sure.
comparisons to. It does ooze a lot of BioShock
Yeah.
esqueness
Yeah.
to it, and it's because Ken Levine had such a heavy hand in the making of the original.
Right.
I don't know if he's still with the team, but it looks like the second one has that BioShock feel to it.
Sure.
And I thought the first Dishonored had more in line with BioShock than BioShock 2 or Infinite did, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Sure. I mean, I haven't even finished the first game. I got it on PC, and I did play a few hours, and it wouldn't save properly, so I kind of left it. I left it alone. I do that,
Yeah, that
with a lot
kills
of shit
things.
on Steam. I've had that problem with computer games. Now and then I'll have that, and I will leave them alone. But I got the definitive edition on PS4, and I thought, okay, let's do this. But so many other games came out, and I've played a few hours of it, and I'm kind of back where I was before, and it's still not grabbing me. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. It probably is me. A lot of people seem to love that stuff, but for me, I don't know. I don't see the big hype here. I don't quite understand what the big deal is, but I mean, what do you guys think about Dishonored? Like, did it strike you as anything in particular, like special or anything like that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it did for me.
Like how did you normally like play through the missions? Do you do it like stealthily, or do you use your powers to get through all the guys? Or?
Well, I mean, in the new playthrough I was starting, I wanted to do a proper full-on stealthy run on PS4 and see how that goes. I know, Nikolai, you prefer on PC because you can get a quicker access to the like.
There's
powers
no
and
weapon
shit.
wheel. I can just press a
Right.
button and do the power, so I was able to chain them together a lot more naturally and more fluid, and it was just,
That's cool.
I think, the definitive way to play the game, in my opinion.
Sure. I don't know. I think it's just me. There's clearly a big support for this franchise now. There's a second one, so it's a franchise, I guess. But Best of luck to them. I just kind of wondered where I'm kind of going wrong because it's not hitting me so hard. I want to finish it. I want to play it. What?
Do you think it's the art style?
I mean,
because for me, that's what I never really. I loved the gameplay, and I actually really enjoyed the story.
Yeah.
The art style kind of drove me nuts. It's a bit cartoony for my
it's
liking.
A little
the hands,
bit, yeah.
I've never liked it when hands are bigger than characters' heads. It always throws me off. I'm like, God, you're not an ape.
Well, I mean, that's.
But at the same time,
it's true. Yeah.
The artist that worked on that was the same concept artist that did like Half-Life 2 and shit like that.
Oh, really?
There's really big names behind that franchise. Yeah. The main guys behind the stories of BioShock and Half-Life 2 and the graphics design behind Half-Life 2 came together.
Right.
They made like this almost super group of developers.
Sure.
And then they made Dishonored.
Man.
I really enjoyed Dishonored because I liked how there was a hub world. I liked how there was just no map system. You had to figure it out.
Right.
There's different there's different ways to tackle that game that you just won't see unless you either replay it or you really, really explore every avenue of the game, or you look it up online, right? But and to me, I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, the ways that you
branching narrative.
Yeah, the ways you could play through the game were great. I mean, I don't think I killed a single one of those assassination targets. I'm pretty sure I always went the route where you didn't kill them. You just essentially punished them in much worse ways. Like that's what I did one time with I think like twins where you cut out their tongues and like send them to this like mine to like spend the rest of their lives mining ore or whatever instead of killing them. So,
sounds grim.
I mean, I used to feed dead. I used to
shit,
feed dead prostitutes to fish in that game and kill people with rats.
Right,
I liked that.
The swarms
that
of rats and stuff. Yeah, it was super cool. All the powers were really cool. I liked it a lot better. I mean, what is it? Infamous. They kind of tried to do those kind of like city spawning powers, I guess, like how they did like neon powers and concrete controlling powers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I liked how in
Second Son
in Dishonored they were kind of like Victorian era London like centralized powers, like controlling hordes of rats, and like and stuff like that, like things that are actually like pertain to the city and the time that you're in, which is really cool.
Sure.
I like how that played a part in it. I'm excited to see what kind of skills and stuff like that they can have in the new one. It looks like the Emily's powers or whatever are going to be different than Corvo's, I think his name is.
Right.
And it's cool that you can play as both of them. I don't know if it's going to be like Syndicate where you have to play as a certain character for certain missions, or if you can just choose whichever one you like playing as better and level
That's
them
Assassin's
up.
Creed Syndicate, right? Not Syndicate.
Yeah, Assassin's
Syndicate.
Creed Syndicate. Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for what they're changing in it. The only thing that I thought was bad about the first one, and that's because I played it on console, is that it was hard to chain together the skills and stuff like that in order to get it to do the things you wanted it to do, because you would want to be like imaginative with those powers and like think outside the box, like where you could like get a guy to shoot himself in the face or whatever and stuff like that. But like it was hard to do on the console because you couldn't really control your powers
exactly. Like I was on the PC, you're able to do things like blink in front of enemies and drop one of those razor wire traps and blink out of there. Like you've studied their patterns, right? Like you do in games, and then you watch the guy turn around, you blink behind him, put a trap down, and then blink the fuck out of there, and he turns around and steps on the trap, and meanwhile you're over at his friend stabbing him in the throat behind him, and you're just blinking fucking everywhere, murdering people in 100 different ways. I really, really like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of the reason I'm more excited for 2 is because, like I said, they're rock stars. Those developers are really, really accomplished.
Certainly.
And so for the first game that they put out on their own with that brand new engine, I think that game is extremely well polished. And I'm excited to see... And it was also a lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But so I'm excited to see how they can build on that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it has to be better than the first one would think.
You'd hope, yeah.
You know what I mean? You would hope, yeah. And visually, it looks fucking nice.
It does look really
nice.
good, yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping, and I'm thinking with this, it's going to be like a comparison of like Assassin's Creed 2 to Assassin's Creed 1. I'm hoping, like, I really loved Assassin's Creed 1, but then 2 just kind of expanded on everything that you liked, took away the things you didn't really like.
That's true.
And just gave you a little bit more of that, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right.
They've gone different places since then, but I think that those two games especially were really good. I don't know, comparison to each other.
Yeah, they said that I thought the first one, the color palette was kind of terrible in my opinion. It was really gray and kind of sludgy, and but they said this new city is going to be much more, a little bit brighter, more vibrant than
cool.
Dunwall was. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the way that all games are going now, I think, which is nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Man, color is nice. It keeps people interested in like staring at something somber and gray for a 13-hour playthrough is kind of depressing.
Color just makes a game look better. Like, even if it's not technically better looking, color just makes it pop, makes it look better. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you do something in straight black and white, like Limbo or the Painted Swan or whatever it was, Unfinished Swan, it looks fucking beautiful. Yeah. Completely devoid of color, but then they use contrasted to such nice effect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting how color palette can affect how you feel about a game.
Same with like the Saboteur, that was a great game. That did that, where it was all black and white and all the Nazi-controlled areas, and you brought color to the city.
Once you took over a Nazi-controlled area, it brought color to that part of the city. Yeah, that was a really neat effect.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm excited to see the color, and I think now that lighting and stuff like that is on a whole another level compared to the PS3. I think you can really bring those worlds alive like you couldn't before, which is exciting.
I mean,
and I'm
go ahead, Dale. Go ahead, Dan. No, it's cool. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm excited to watch people get eaten alive by rats or whatever in such high definition and quality and
you're sick bastard.
Contrast.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, you mentioned about, like, you asked me if it was maybe the art style that threw me a little bit, but the art style in that game reminds me of probably, if pushed, I'd say my favorite shooter franchise of all time, and that's Time Splitters. It actually kind of reminds me of that.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Very close.
So
again, another game where hands are bigger than heads.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But I mean, I love those games.
The
They're so
was
good.
So sound in that. It does
so good. But yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know if it's the art style. Maybe it is. I don't know, but
it could be an amalgamation of all of it. Maybe the story didn't grab you, or maybe you're not into the whole Victorian era style of game.
Maybe not. I don't know, man.
Who knows why something grabs us and doesn't? But it's not like the whole world is blowing up over this game. It is quite popular, but there is a vocal group for either side of the fence on this franchise.
Maybe it's the developers, and that explains it. Like, it's a bit of a kind of, like, I don't want to use the word hipster because that's unfair, but I think there's people who kind of, this developer's making, this guy's great, he's so wonderful, I gotta, you know what I mean? Like that kind of crowd.
Maybe, but I think the gameplay's so sound and solid. And
that's fine.
There's no hiccups in that game.
But you know what I mean, right?
It ran beautifully. Yeah, sure, but I get it. You like, people would have an affinity to a director or like a rock star or something without even seeing their new
little
work.
bit of fanboyishness.
That kind of thing. Yeah, fanboyishness, but I doubt it. I don't think the industry's that fucking. Like, I don't think people,
at least it wasn't at the time for the
that are
first one,
super excited for it are like sucking Ken Levine's dick.
Yeah.
Like, developers aren't rock stars in that way to a vast majority. You know what I mean?
Well, this isn't a vast majority.
I didn't even know that those guys were associated with it actually until right now. Honestly.
I don't know. I thought it was the biggest announcement at the Bethesda conference, so I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's gotta be. I mean, like the only other thing.
Prey.
That would be
Skyrim remastered.
Prey, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's just a remastered version of, I mean,
pretty big news for people.
Sell more than Dishonored, but
I mean, Prey, or not Prey, sorry, the Dishonored is the only game in that conference that's coming out this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why it had the longest showing, and it was, I think they did it poorly at the conference. I thought it was a little slow, a little long in the tooth, and they did it at the end so they get the whole, get your pre-orders in and the deluxe editions and
it's
all that shit. And it's the only one that they have that's coming this year, so that's why they did it.
I didn't actually watch the conference.
More time with it, I
haven't had the time, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I watched it last night.
No, that's their hit of the summer, so yeah, they're gonna do it last. But I mean, yeah, that's crazy. It's weird to me that they did another conference this year, and Dishonored 2 is their biggest thing for this conference, which is weird because I mean like they haven't done conferences for so many years. They did a conference for.
But that's what I was just saying before we started the show. It's because they're at that point now where they're not a developer. They are, but they're a big ass publisher now. And so Ubisoft does a conference, EA does a conference.
Yeah.
It makes total sense that Bethesda's doing a conference.
Sure.
now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to get the name out. Those aren't their games. They're publishing them, right? So they want them to sell like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah.
So that their in-house studios can keep working on Fallout 5 and the next Elder Scrolls, right?
Sure.
They're big name franchises.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the way the industry works, and it's E3s. Unfortunately, it's not so much for us.
No,
it's for the press.
It never started out as that,
right? Because you got to know after that conference, all of the press people went behind closed doors and saw a lot of shit that we didn't get to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got hands-on on Dishonored.
Exactly. And that's why they do the press conferences. It's not especially for us anymore.
I think it's getting more and more to be for us. I think as the years go by,
E3 used to be totally for us with booth babes and fucking all that shit, and then now like the ones that are for us are more like PAX.
When it first started out, you couldn't get into E3 unless you were part of press or you were part of something like a buying.
You could.
It was a trade convention. The whole thing.
But you're talking
was
like
for people in the
99 right
industry,
now, and then like
right?
2 years later they started selling public tickets, man.
Yeah, and I think every year they get more and more into the public and less into the trade show aspect of it. But booth babes aren't really a thing anywhere anymore. Like, it's just not.
But that was just what I was saying. Like
correct,
the spectacle that it used to be is not that anymore.
Booth babes ain't
To bring
PC.
people in. Like they used to have so many different things going on. They used to have live cosplay shows and all this other stuff,
Right.
kind of like a Comic-Con.
Yeah, I was
They don't
gonna
have
say
that
it was like a
anymore,
con,
Taylor.
wasn't it,
It
back
is
in the
just it is way back more to what it used to be, where they just have booths set up, come play the game, talk to the developers for a second, and move on.
Right.
Whereas PAX is like they have YouTubers come on and do panels to interact with fans. They do all this other shit.
They do
for
panels at E3. They were doing like
It's
Bethesda
different.
did panels
It's-
with all their people. Like
press, man. You need press passes to get into a lot of that shit.
yeah, I mean the tickets themselves for E3 are pretty much like way out of a personal price range anyway. So I don't understand why people are going. But I mean the whole thing is I think anyway it's maybe not compared to like a few years ago, but it's certainly a lot more for the public and a lot more to
No.
and that's why they're showing
It's
the
false.
whole.
I want to go on record and say this man's wrong.
That's why they're showing all of the presentations online and stuff like that. I mean, it's not just for the people who are there to watch them. They want everybody to see these things.
It's the
Of
hype
course, they
show.
want everybody to see
what's
them.
going on.
It's always been a bit of a hype show, but it is not. It's way more of a press junket now than it was for the last decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. And this is I've seen every fucking E3 and watched every conference over the last 15 years, man. Like, it's different than it used to be. 100%.
Yeah, other things come in, take
Anyway.
up the slack.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a lot of conferences now, so. But yeah, either way, Dishonored looks pretty good. I'm really
Nice.
excited for that
Brought
to
it
come
back.
out in the next few months. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm mostly excited for from that Bethesda conference. Is
Like,
probably
if you
that.
go to an E3 as a person that's not in the press, good luck playing most of the games, because people are scheduled. Like all the press people have scheduled a lot of times to go to each booth and play the game, and the lineups are fucking 10 miles long.
Yeah.
It's not like that at a PAX. They have way more stations set up for the fans, right? It's just not the same anymore. That's what E3 used to be. They used to have fucking LAN parties and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not that.
there you go.
There it is.
At least we've seen Dishonored 2. That's coming this year, I guess. I guess it's
It
gonna please
absolutely
a lot
is.
of people. Maybe I'll like it. Who knows?
It is. Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully
I'm
you get all
gonna
these right.
pick it up and play it.
I'm hoping the story is at least as good as the last one, but I'm thinking it'll be even better. So I'm pretty excited.
Yep. It'll be interesting.
Good.
You get to play as a girl. That's the new thing.
Yeah, if you want to.
That's a very like
choice is
trendy
the new
thing right
thing.
now.
Yeah, let's all be girls. Let's have a female James Bond, because whoop-de-fucking-do.
Oh, the James Bond drama continues.
I don't really care.
I think Martha Stewart should be James Bond.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be good.
Fuck Martha
An
Stewart.
American felon as a British spy. Perfect.
There you
Done. Yeah. Well, Dishonored 2, we enjoy it. Or really, we enjoyed what we saw anyway. Danny's a little bit on the fence for it, but he was on the fence for the first one. So I think that's a good summary of the
I got a
topic
sore
now.
butt sitting on the fence.
His butt. He's a little bit sore. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Dudepool Gamescast. If you liked what you saw, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/officialdudepoolgaming and on Twitter at Dudepool Gaming. From us to you, we'll catch you next time from the Dudepool crew. Adios, amigos.
See you guys.